I brought copies of this for you because some of it is kind of a working. It can be kind of a working session depending on how much we want to put into it tonight.
All right.
Or it's also designed that you can at least listen to how this, what my thinking is behind putting a plan together, and you could go out later and put pieces together.
Right.
Or we can do a combination. We can start filling in information, and then when it gets trickier, and when there's some stuff that we realize we need to research, we can then kind of say, okay, well, we now know we need to figure out these things, and then we can put the back end together. All right?
Excellent.
So first, so you have to promise not to look ahead in your presentation because you'll get confused about what does he mean by these things. So stick with me on this, and we'll work through it together. Even Brad was kind of getting confused with, well, what do you mean by budget on this page? And he was already ahead of me. So first, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm not a Michigander, a native Michigander. I am a Hoosier. So I graduated from IU School of Business and make no apologies about that. And I immediately followed that with a 25-year career at IBM, starting in New York, but I've been in Michigan for over almost 25 years. I've been here, but I spent my first 5 years out in New York. And I did a lot of things at IBM. I started out doing data center planning, mainframe stuff. I wanted to work with customers. I moved to Michigan and spent about 5 years on the Ford account doing large systems work with them, so very technical. And I was really into that because I'm a little bit of a geek. And then I got more into consulting, infrastructure consulting, and as my career progressed, I got less and less technical, ending with about 5 years doing marketing and business development. So it was a great career, and during that time, I did some significant work with nonprofits, was on the board of a nonprofit for 10 years, and during that time was asked to get incredibly involved in fundraising for the nonprofit. In fact, they took me to the original Pancake House, plied me with carbohydrates and sugar, and asked me to lead a $4 million capital campaign to build a new building. And I'm like, I don't know how to do this. And that's like, it's cool, none of us know how to do this, so we're all gonna learn together. And so I agreed before I went to the sugar coma and spent time doing that. Kind of as an aside background, I am a church musician part-time, kind of do it on the side. I'm doing it now, as a matter of fact, and I really enjoyed that. I played piano and organ since I was a little kid. This is the organ console at the Eisenhower Hall at West Point, in West Point, New York. I took that picture. I couldn't believe that they had an organ that big. It's like a cockpit of a plane. This is my partner, Cliff. We've been together. He's a native Michigander, and we've been together for 23 years, and he's an interior designer. Affirmations is the nonprofit that I spent a lot of time working with. That $4 million capital campaign was really successful. We raised $5.3 million in the end. Part of that because we found out we had to, because our architects designed a building that couldn't be built for $4 million. Well, actually, $750,000 of that money was to go into an endowment fund with a community foundation, so they get about $50,000 a year in operating money just from that endowment. So, but we did build a really nice building in Ferndale. So when IBM ended, I was encouraged to think about getting into philanthropic services more, because I really enjoyed the work that I did with affirmations. So it turns out my alma mater, Indiana University, I didn't know this, but I learned it during the capital campaign work, at that time it was called Center on Philanthropy. Now, 2 years ago, they made it a formal school of the university. So it's a Lilly Family School of Philanthropy, and they have programs there, degree programs. I went through a certificate program, and now, just earlier this year, I started working at the Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation, doing major gifts and planned giving, or estate giving. So I'm responsible for working with donors who have the capacity to give gifts of 10,000 and higher, and also building up our planned giving program by working with donors who are interested in making bequests in their will or charitable gift annuities or trusts to the foundation. So Children's Hospital Foundation has about $100 million in assets. I'm sorry that I can't get them to just give you like $100,000, but it's really an interesting thing. And sometime, if you all are interested, over beers we'll talk about how this nonprofit foundation to a DMC hospital is able to give money to a for-profit healthcare system. But the Attorney General is on our side in this thing. It's a great story, and I'm so proud to work for them because we can't fund everything that a hospital does, but the things we fund are really important for kids and their families. So I'm really proud to work there. And then probably my biggest thing is I've become this totally obsessed Big Bang Theory geek. I like the intelligent humor, and so I had to throw Sheldon up on the screen. So for tonight's meeting, let me just tell you how I structured this. And it's really kind of top down. So we talk about the end at the beginning. What is the goal that we want to get to? So we talk about what is our aim, and the aim from your website is to bring safe drinking water that doesn't have killer levels of arsenic into this village of Laguna de Apoyo, is that in Nicaragua?
And let me tell you, I am so happy that you were able to find that information on our website, because up until about a month ago, our website was about 5 years out of date.
Oh, okay. Well, I went to the national website,
okay,
and then narrowed down to your chapter. I do things top down.
Yeah.
And then I found your chapter, because at first I went to a map on EWB USA, and I went to a map of all the projects, and I looked at Central America, and I'm like, holy smokes, I thought there'd be like 2 projects or something. Because I know there's El Salvador you guys are working on too, right? And so then I'm like, okay, and then the other day I then said, well, let me go look for the chapter, and I found your chapter website, and then looked at your projects. You guys like have 3 projects, right?
Yeah.
That you're working on. So I think it's really cool, and I like the website, and I could learn about the project and stuff like that. And you can even do fundraising on your through your website, which is really good. So you've got a place to direct people. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the project tonight, so that you can educate me, and we're gonna fill in some blanks about the project. Because then, so that's understanding the needs of the project and the timeline, things like that. And then we're going to start addressing the funding challenge. What is the ultimate funding you need versus any that might already be committed, which is maybe 0, or funding that we think might be easy to get. And we're going to talk about options that are available. There's a lot of what we call fundraising vehicles. Like I mentioned, planned giving is a fundraising vehicle. Not appropriate for you. You're not asking people to leave you money in your will. You kind of need it before they die. I also do major gifts. That's not appropriate for you either. But we're going to talk about things that I picked out that are appropriate. We're going to talk about 4 fundraising areas. And we're going to talk about the pros and cons of each area and things to consider. And then, at the end, if we feel like we have enough information, we will start taking a stab at creating a mix. What percentage of our fundraising do we think can come from events versus from doing appeal letters versus maybe grants that we think we could get and stuff like that. So that may or may not be something that we want to do tonight, but you'll have at least the information to start thinking about it if we don't get there. And then that gives you your fundraising plan, and that's what you need to get to pretty quickly. Because I think you guys want to do this stuff next year, right?
Yeah.
So, does that sound like a good approach?
Yes.
And if we're ever like getting too down, I don't think I'm going to get too down into the weeds with you guys. We're not going to talk about, we can get into a discussion, like say, I know you guys have had a discussion about doing a big event. And we can talk a little bit about the approaches to planning that, but we're not going to talk about whether to serve chicken or beef tonight, or we'll talk more at a high level, like how an event can raise money beyond just the ticket price of the event, right? So, first I want to start by talking about the project at a high level, because Brad has only given me superficial information. I don't know if he's scared to tell me the truth, or if he just thought we would wait for this point.
Hey guys, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I'm here, but the doors are locked.
I got you, Jeannie.
Esther's on the way.
Continue. Thanks.
That was a fast 12 minutes.
She's a super scary driver.
And she's in a fine General Motors automobile. It just took her right to the spot.
We'll wait.
Are you making fun of my navigation?
No, I'm just making fun. I'm just generally poking fun about the fact that you're a GM employee, more generally.
Why? What's wrong with being a gym?
No, nothing. I don't know.
All right. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Go on.
That's okay. I didn't ask you guys to introduce yourselves. Where do you work?
So I'm Dan Royal. I'm president of the chapter. I work at Homeroth and Clark, which is a civil engineering consulting firm in Bloomfield Township.
Okay.
So I do a lot of designing, renovating water and wastewater treatment plants.
Oh, cool.
As well as different kind of sewer work and that kind of stuff.
Oh, sewer work.
Sewer
Okay.
work, yes.
Okay. Great.
And in my free time, I do this. So that's pretty much all you need to know about me.
Cool. Michelle, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm adjunct faculty at Lawrence Tech right now.
Oh, cool.
So my background is in biomedical engineering, but I've recently founded a nonprofit and I've been doing some work in El Salvador on aquaponics, which is sustainable farming with fish and vegetables.
Oh, cool. Oh, very cool. Good.
That was like the most interesting possible answer you could have given to that.
Lawrence Tech, I think we're probably making it hang up now. Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Lawrence Tech,
It's right nearby here, yeah.
I went to a workshop there actually on green buildings.
Oh, nice.
And so we got LEED certification for the building in Ferndale when we built it. It was basic certification. We wanted to go for silver or gold level, and we were like, well, yeah, okay, we wanted to put grass on the roof, and we can't do that, and there were certain other things we couldn't do.
Hello.
So, hi, how are you doing?
Good, how are you? Thanks for
Good.
coming. Sorry I'm like super late. Lots going on today.
That's okay. You basically only missed the introduction.
Awesome. Thank you.
And I just introduce yourself.
You introduced me?
Tell me what you do.
No, you
Oh,
introduce
okay.
What do you do at GM?
So,
Besides
right now.
drive fancy cars around.
So right now I'm the AC charging performance integration engineer. So I work on hybrid and electric vehicles.
Cool.
So I work on the charging subsystem of the vehicle. So I essentially make sure that feature is working properly.
Yeah.
That's what I do in a nutshell.
Cool.
It's a very simplified version of it.
So do you work at the Red Sun?
No, I work at the Milford Proving Grounds.
Oh,
in
okay.
Milford. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so I didn't come from there. I came from school, which is in Detroit. So
Oh, okay.
one of these things is what I just did.
Where are you going to school? At Wayne?
At Wayne State.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. So I'm right. I work right on Wayne State campus at DMC.
You do? Oh.
Right by the School of Medicine. I mean,
Nice.
the campus to me is like all spread out.
It is very spread out.
But right there in Midtown,
Oh, cool.
right at Mac and Beaubien, east of John
Oh,
Rock.
yeah. I know exactly
Yeah.
where that is.
Yep.
Yeah, I was in that area.
So it's a very I really like driving down there. It's the first time I've really worked in Detroit every day.
Really?
I had customers, including GM, in Detroit, but I'm going there every day and dealing with the traffic on 75 in Woodward. So I want to start by talking about some specifics around the project. And I think what I'm going to do is put them right into the slide, because then I can send this stuff to you. So now, what I want to do, of course I've lost, oh there it is. What I want to do is talk about the budget. And when I mean the budget, I want to get a sense of what's it going to cost for you to do what you need to do in Nicaragua, to drill that mammoth deep well, or if you decide not to do that, To, what is it, put in purification systems in every home or something?